What's going on, YouTube? We're talking college sports in the Deep South, where college football is king. And on the plains of Auburn, the battle cry is War Eagle. Want to welcome everybody to Vernon Speak Sports Auburn. Thank you guys for stopping by. Want to go ahead and invite you to subscribe to my channel. Also, get active in the comment section, like this video, and let's get this thing going. As we talk about Auburn football like nobody's business, I was thinking about my man Late Kick. If you don't know about his YouTube channel, I want you to go over there. His name is Josh Pate. He has a very, very successful YouTube channel where he talks about college football. It seems to be geared more towards the SEC. And he talked about the prospect, the unlikely prospect of Auburn fans, actually hating or wanting to beat Georgia worse than wanting to beat Alabama. That was pretty the gist of the video. As a matter of fact, I started to think about it, and these are some thoughts that kind of ran through my mind as it relates to, Auburn's relationship with Alabama and Auburn's relationship with Georgia on the gridiron. And it's kind of interesting when you really, really pay attention to what has gone on over the past 20 years. If you think about since 1999, Auburn is 10-10 against Alabama. A lot of the Alabama fans probably would not even care to admit to that, but the series is dead even. As a matter of fact, Auburn has served as a very interesting nemesis to Alabama, even during the Nick Saban era, whereas in 2013, literally slamming the door on Alabama as they were, a field goal or overtime away from going to the SEC championship, only to be denied by Auburn via the kick six. We fast forward over to 2017, Alabama literally looking at, going to the SEC championship, losing to Auburn in the Iron Bowl 26-14. Although Alabama does go on to win the national championship, you still have that stain. You still have the fact that Auburn beat you in a national championship year, still a memorable type victory. And given any other circumstances, I'll go out on a limb and say if it wasn't Alabama, and if Alabama wasn't so good that year, that loss to Auburn kicks them out of the play, out of any hope of the playoff. Okay, but then you look on the other side with Georgia. Auburn has had a very, very difficult time with Georgia over the last 20 years. You're talking about an 8-13 record. Similar to what Auburn has been able to do to Alabama, Georgia has been able to do to Auburn. Now, outside of all the recruiting and all of the other, tidbits that the Late Kick threw in, which were all valid points. But you got to look at the fact that Georgia has really kicked Auburn where it's hurt in the last 20 years. If you, like I said before, an 8-13 record, a situation back in 2006 where Auburn was one of the hottest teams in the country, happened to be playing Georgia at 12 o'clock in this particular game. Auburn kind of, sort of still didn't have a chance to make the SEC championship because of a loss to Arkansas earlier that year. Arkansas had pretty much had a game to spare, which they did wind up losing to LSU late in the season, representing the SEC West in the SEC championship. But Auburn had a chance to do some great things that year, going into the Georgia game in 2006 with only one loss, and completely laid an egg, losing that game 37-15, negating what would have been a one-loss season, definitely making it to a New Year's Six bowl that year, just really slamming the door on Auburn that particular season. You go on further to 2016, where Auburn literally had the opportunity to be the first two-loss team to actually make the college football playoff. Now, as a disclaimer, I don't believe that this Auburn team would have beaten Alabama in the Iron Bowl that year, even with Shaun White and even with a healthy Cameron Petway. But at the same time, the opportunity was there. You're talking about, in 2016, going into Georgia Sanford Stadium with a viable opportunity to win that game. Auburn was the better team, only to lose that game 13-7. Georgia literally slamming the door over any opportunity that Auburn would have had going into that Alabama game to put themselves in position. And see, if you think about when Auburn is able to beat Georgia, putting themselves in position to beat Alabama, do you think can any of you all honestly say that you thought Auburn was going to beat Alabama in 2013? No Auburn fan can honestly say that. Even in 2017, could you honestly say you're glad to be there? You're glad to be in the position that you were in to win the game, to have the opportunity. But no one in their whole heart of hearts thought that they could win this game. But see, losing to Georgia in these situations cost an opportunity. And probably the worst one of them all was in 2017 as well, a couple of weeks after Auburn beat Georgia in Jordan-Hare. Playing Georgia in the SEC championship game, Georgia slams the door once again. Auburn had a huge opportunity to make the college football playoff. Georgia slams the door once again. So that's where a lot of the disdain for Georgia comes from as well. Not being able to finish the deal in Georgia, usually the team that stands in the way. Let me know, guys, in the comment section what you think about this video. Big shout out to The Late Kick. I'm going to give a link to his channel in the description. Also a link to the video where he talks about Auburn's relationship with Georgia and Alabama. Hope you all enjoyed this video. Go ahead and subscribe to Vernon Speaks Sports Auburn. Until next time, guys, War Eagle.